So welcome everybody to our session today on the Ask Anything Natural Language Search and on the Primo Research Assistant. We're going to talk about why we're doing these together. I'm joined today by Seema Bloch-Winkler. Seema, thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to join us. We appreciate your time. I am Yoel Kortic, Senior Librarian at Ex Libris, and I will go through the Primo Research Assistant and the Ask Anything Natural Language Search. We'll be talking about why they are being grouped together today as one session about AI-based tools in Primo V. Primo V NDE, we'll see that the Primo Research Assistant exists in Primo V and Primo V NDE, while the Natural Language Search Ask Anything exists in Primo V NDE exclusively. But a few introductory administrative comments before we jump right in. This is part of our 2026 Roadmap webinar series. We've already done quite a bit of sessions and we're only on February 18th. So just to recap, we've done a session on the new relative date index in ALMA. And last week we did another one on the customized repository search bibliographic indexes. Today we're on the AI-based tools in Primo V NDE. And you can already register for the linked open data editor for BibFrame, a very hot topic that's coming up March 5th, just 3 weeks away, 2 weeks away, maybe even March 5th. So we hope to see you there. The registration is open here. You can click register and open. On this page, we also have links to all of the YouTube recordings and links to the material that we use along with the sessions. Also, this is our YouTube channel. You're encouraged to look at the YouTube channel because all of the recordings go onto this YouTube channel. For example, I'm here now. This is just Ex Libris from Clarivate. You can find this via a very basic search inside YouTube, but I'm going to send that out in the chat anyway, just in case there's anybody who doesn't have that. So now you've got the link to the YouTube, and you've got the link to the 2026 Roadmap Webinar Series page. So within the YouTube, for example, when I'm in our channel, the Ex Libris from Clarivate channel, if I come here to playlists, as an example, you'll see a playlist here for the 2026 Roadmap Webinar Series, and that will already include last week's session as well as the session before that. So we've got all of them. You've got here, and let's stop that. So you've got, for example, the customized repository search indexes, and you've got, let me close that, and you've got the new relative date index. So customized repository search indexes, you've got here, new relative date indexes here. So all of our previous sessions are here, so you're welcome to view that on YouTube. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So we're talking about two AI-based tools which are in Primo V NDE. The Ask Anything is exclusively in the Primo V NDE. It's not in the Primo V, which is before the NDE, the current one, or those of you, let's put it this way, those of you who have still not moved to Primo V NDE will not have in your environment right now the Ask Anything. However, it's very easy to duplicate your view to a Primo V NDE view and check it out there and start using Primo V NDE even. And there's a process for moving over. We're having webinars on that as well. That's another topic in itself. Then we're also discussing the Primo Research Assistant, which is present in Primo V and Primo V NDE. So that one's existing in both of them. So let's look very briefly at this PowerPoint just to get some basic facts about these two features. Then we're going to go into Primo and see the details. But we'll start here just to get the general background. So the Primo Research Assistant, as it states here, that allows the end users to use a natural language search. Both of these features allow a natural language search. When we say a natural language search, we say you can type your search as if you're talking, like, please give me resources about library and information science in the last decade in Taiwan, as an example. So you're using a natural language search. You're not saying word from subject equals whatever and title contains phrase whatever. You're talking like a regular person, a natural language search. Oh, and there's even examples here. So that's the natural language search. Both of them use the natural language search, the Ask Anything and the Primo Research Assistant. However, the purpose of them and the results of them are different. The Primo Research Assistant, which we're going to begin with, gives an overview of a topic and gives the resources that it uses to bring those topics, and those resources can be used by the end user to continue his or her research. Let's actually jump in. I don't like using the PowerPoint so much, but we're going to go much more in depth. We're going to get right back to the PowerPoint. So the Research Assistant, I'm clicking Research Assistant here on top. It's telling me I need to log in because using the Primo Research Assistant requires login. We're going to come back here and talk more in depth. I just want to show this so I'm not only in the PowerPoint. And so when I click the Research Assistant here, let's do it this way. Okay, there we go. So within the Primo Research Assistant here, I can type like a regular person. For example, what are the general trends in the area of library and information science in the last 5 years or so? What are the big topics everyone in the field is talking about? So that's a very natural language search. It's like I'm not even a librarian putting in some kind of keywords that I know is going to make them give me what I'm looking for. I even might have a few spelling errors here, which it'll also be fine with. And let's send that out. So that's the Primo Research Assistant. He's going to come back now with an overview of the topic and references to those topics. So I have the overview. In the last 5 years, research trends in library and information have done blah, 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 blah. And I can go into each of these to see where he's taking the information from. So, for example, here he says university research and the ILS collaboration. So collaboration is a big topic. Knowledge combinations. There's a focus on computer science. So if I want to see where is he getting these and I want to continue doing research on these, I can come here and go right to those sources. So when I click on one of these, it brings me that source. If I have access to that, it brings me the direct access. And if I, like here, for example, on this one, evolution explanation of blah, blah, blah. So here, it's already giving me the option to go right to full text online as if I had searched for that in Primo and gotten to the view it page and been able to access it. So I click that and now I have access to that article. So very powerful feature. You see, I came in, I did a search in a natural language, I got my answer, I clicked on one of the references. It brought me right there as if I had searched for it. We're going to talk more about where am I searching, etc. And gives me the access. If by chance I had clicked on one of these that I don't have access to, rather than telling me download the PDF review online, it brings me to more details and request options. And then it brings me as if I searched for it and now I need to get my access. So let's come back to the PowerPoint. I just wanted to pop in so it wouldn't be completely abstract. So like we saw, the Primo Research Assistant is bringing us the overview and it's bringing us links to those top 5 resources. By the way, in addition to those top 5 resources, I also have access to other resources. So for example here, let's do this again. I'm going to come back as if I'm doing a regular library search. Now I decide to do the research assistant. I'm already logged in, so he's not telling me log in. And I'm going to do another one here. Please tell me, what are the major institutions for the study of library and information science in Taipei and all of Taiwan? Okay. Please tell me, what are the major institutions for the, he does work when I have these spelling errors, but let's not over challenge him in our first couple of minutes of the session. Okay, so now I've put in another one because I want to show now we saw that he gave us the top 5 resources, but when relevant, there are additional resources. So here we go. So I've got an overview, study a library in Taiwan, et cetera, et cetera. National Taiwan University, where the Graduate Institute of Library and Information Science was established in 1980. And I've got the 5 resources here, and I can also see additional resources. So I've got the links here to where he or she is taking all of the information. And when I click here, I get more resources when there are more resources. So now it's bringing me, in addition to those first 5, it's bringing me others. And you can also see on top what it did. It took my phrase and started searching here. So it gives these or these, and I could go on and on. I could go into advanced search and see, but I see how it's searching, where it's searching, and then I get the results. So in addition to those first 5, I'm also getting additional ones. Let's come back. So that's a general overview of the Research Assistant. Now let's look at a general overview of the Ask Anything, and then we're going to go more in depth on each of them. So the Ask Anything, let's pop over to the other presentation here. We'll do the same thing. We'll look at a little overview. We'll go in and look at it. We're going to compare the two. Then we're going to start doing a deep dive on each. So the Ask Anything, unlike the Research Assistant, which we just saw, it doesn't give us an overview of a specific topic. Rather, it brings us the resources that we would use ourselves in order to conduct research on that topic. So instead of saying, please tell me about the major institutions in Taiwan, or please tell me about major trends in library and information science, I would say something to the effect of, what resources are available online published in the last 5 years about whatever. But let's take a look here. So again, it's using a natural language search. I don't need to type it as if I'm a librarian, and I know that it's looking for a subject from Library of Congress with a controlled vocabulary, and that I should have a phrase in the title, and maybe I need to spell something 2 different ways if I want to get the word from title from something published in England as opposed to the United States because it's a slightly different spelling. I just type in regular language, or natural language to me more exact. For example, find me library science journals in English that are available online, or what books are there about Gloria Steinem or Sheryl Sandberg. So it makes the query, but it gives me the resources. It doesn't give me the overview. So for example, here I am, and I'm going to click the Ask Anything right here next to the simple search. And here I am. So let's take that example here. What books are there about Gloria Steinem or Sheryl Sandberg? Let's even tell them in English, available online, published in the last 10 years. Okay, so now I'm giving them some criteria without needing to do a search in a facet. I'm a BA, a 19-year-old first degree student. I don't know about these facets and everything else. I'm just used to going to Google or ChatGPT and putting in what I want. I don't want to be bothered with all these modern or what he may think is not modern library science terminologies of the subject and the filter and the facet, etc. I want them online, and I don't want really old ones only in the last 10 years, and they should be available online because I don't feel like going to a shelf and reading an actual book. So let's say search here. So again, it's translating that natural query, what books are there, and giving me the results. So first of all, we can see here it automatically, I don't want to get too ahead of myself because we're going to do the deep dive soon, but we can see here it saw that I wanted the last 10 years, and it's automatically faceting by 2016 to 2026. I told him I want it only in English, so he's faceting already for me by the language. I told him I wanted ones that are valuable online, so he gave me ones about books. I don't have here that overview that we saw a short while ago, when I did the Primo Research Assistant. I not only had those 5 initial resources and then a link to view the other resources, I had the overview of the topic. Here I don't have an overview of the topic. The point here is not to be able to go in and already know information about what I'm searching, but rather to get the resources. And when I say generated query here, I'm clicking generated query. It's not a mandatory thing to do as part of the process, but out of curiosity, I might want to know what is it doing. So it took those 2 names, made me an OR. It looked in the title, the description, the general, and the table of contents, usually coming from a 505, 510, etc., 520, and bringing me those terms. Notice here, it didn't do the filter by language and dates here. It did that. I'm going to get out of here. It did that here in the facets. And then while I have my results, I can come along and change the facets. So let's, now that we've seen the Primo Research Assistant very briefly, and we saw the Ask Anything very briefly, before we start on a deeper dive of each of them, let's compare them. So if I come here, we've got a comparison here. I'm going to come down here to slide 52. And you have access to these presentations as well. There's links to them on the Roadmap Webinar Series page. So what is the difference? Now that we saw each of them, let's see technically what's the difference. So we saw that the Primo Research Assistant not only gives us the resources, but also gives us a link to the resources. So I have the sources, I got a link to them inside, almost like a footnote. It tells me, it showed me, let's just review in case someone doesn't know what I'm referring to. When I asked it a question, how is BibFrame being implemented in the world's leading libraries? So he not only gives me the results and not only gives me the overview, but it tells me where he took all of the information. That's what I'm referring to. We'll just take a brief look, then we'll go back to our comparison. Okay, so I have here, this is what I was stating, almost like a footnote, where it says, where did he get this specific information? When he talks about the unique advantages of BibFrame, he's taking that directly from here. So I have the overview, I have the sources, and I have where did he take the information in the overview from what specific source. So back to our comparison. So that's the Research Assistant. We have the overview, the sources, and a link to the sources for the specific parts of the information. Then the Ask Anything, it's a search in Primo for the resources. It's not giving us any kind of overview. It's just giving us the resources. If I was to do this same exact topic, and I was to do this in the Ask Anything, so the phrasing would be different because I'm looking for resources. So I would say, for example, what resources are available regarding how BibFrame is being implemented in the world's leading libraries. So now, I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. I just wanted to do a brief overview, and we're already going in depth, but that's fine too, because I see we're already 22 minutes in. So now I don't have that overview, but I have the resources. Now I can do my research on my own. And I can change the square if I say, well, it's not really showing me exactly what I wanted. What is it doing? I click that generated query and I see how it got that, how it took my natural language question, me speaking like a regular person. I say regular person. A librarian is also a regular person, but let's say I'm a non-librarian regular person. Other, like on the survey we have at the end of the, or on the registration, this part where someone has to fill in what are they. So there's librarian and non-librarian and other. So someone can be a librarian and not a librarian. And then there's another category for someone who is not a librarian or a non-librarian. In any case, that other person can even do a search here, typing like an other or a non-librarian. Okay, back to our comparison. So this is exactly what was explained. One is giving us the resources, one is giving us an overview in the resources. We don't need to go into that. Okay, so now before we get into the deep dive on each of them, I saw that a chat came in. Let's just see what that chat is, if that's something everyone can benefit from. Is Ask Anything, someone's asking, is Ask Anything only held resources, or does it expand beyond the holdings? Okay, I'm going to leave that one until we get to the Ask Anything. Seema, feel free to write in there. There are some restrictions as to where it's going. I can also choose, I assume, the question is, and correct me if I'm wrong, person who asked it, when I do the Ask Anything, I'm going to wait to answer, but I'm going to show something to clarify your question.
Yeah, just a note, I cannot see the questions. They're probably directed to you. So if you can ask the question in the Q&A.
I'm going to take this one and I will put it right here. You see my screen. So this is the question here. It's in the chat. Is Ask Anything only held resources, or does it expand beyond the holdings? Okay, so when someone does a regular ALMA search, let's forget for a moment the Ask Anything, etc. And if I search in CDI or library catalog in CDI for anything, Taipei Library Science, oh, we even have a suggested librarian there. So there's a way to search beyond my catalog. Right now, it's bringing me what is available in my catalog, what I have access to, and I could configure Alma and another method to say, search beyond, expand my results. When I do this, expand my results, now it's looking not only what I have access to, but what exists in the CDI in general. By the way, if you put your questions in the Q&A, Seema will also be able to see it. So you can put them in the Q&A. Okay, so person who asked that question, I assume that's what you're asking. Is it including the expand my results, or is it only including as if I had done it this way? And let's wait until we get to the Ask Anything, and you can tell me in the chat or in the Q&A if that's really what you intended. Okay, yes, the person said correct, thanks. Okay. All right, so if there's no other questions, let's now go into the deeper dive on the Primo Research Assistant. Then we'll go into the Ask Anything. All right, so the Primo Research Assistant. So I don't need to be logged in for the Primo Research Assistant. I do need to be logged in for the Ask Anything. Let me confirm that. I'm going to sign out here because I get triggered to log in. I should clarify that a different way. I'm going to sign out just to show something. So right now you can see my research assistant is on top. In fact, I'm going to take a picture of this just so it'll be clear. My research assistant, I'm going to take it this whole way here. I even got a picture of Seema here because now when I paste this, you'll see. So right now, yeah, there's my screen. Sorry about that, Seema. So I've got now my Primo Research Assistant here, and here it's empty. You're going to see that in a moment, I'm going to have it there as well. So if I click this now, Research Assistant, I need to log in. So on the one hand, I can access it when I'm not logged in, but I can't use it until I'm logged in. We're doing our deeper dive now. So now I'm going to log in as Caroline. And if I were to do a regular search here, not doing the Primo Research Assistant, and I will search again for Taiwan and information science. So I don't have anything here on my right, on the bottom right. Now, why and how does this research assistant appear here? Before we go into using it more, if you might not see it, or you might say, I see it, but I don't like it there, or why is it called research assistant? I want to call it something else. So it's inside the view where we can define this. So I'm going into my view now. I'm switching over to Alma, and I'm going to my view, Discovery, Configure Views. Now I'm using a Primo V NDE view, but this also exists in the not Primo V NDE. I'm going to go into just to show one that's not Primo V NDE for those of you who have not yet switch to Primo V NDE. So we're going to be talking now about this, enable Research Assistant using icon and enable Research Assistant using widget. They exist in both the NDE and the not NDE. So I'm getting out of the not NDE just so I can now go into mine, edit, and we're in the General tab. So we determine if we want the Research Assistant to appear or not by going into the View, going into the General tab, and we have here, Enable Research Assistant using icon. That one I have checked. I do not have checked Enable Research Assistant using widget, and we saw that when I search Primo, I have nothing here on the bottom right. Now I'm going to change this and say enable Research Assistant using widget. So this one here is on the top, the icon. The widget we're going to see is on the bottom right, or if you're using a right to left interface, it will be different, but that's another story. Save. Now let's go take a look at what's happening here. Now I'm going to do a search again. There's a very interesting topic I started reading about. I'm going to see if we got anything. The Tower of Babel and the LLM large language model. People have been doing comparisons of that Tower of Babel, the story in Genesis, and the large language model. Not that I'm saying there's anything similar, but let's just do a search for the sake of doing a search. So now when I do the search, let me close this facet. Search. Probably have to refresh something here. Did I save my view actually? Here it is. Okay, so now I have this because this is the widget. When I defined that I want to see the widget, it put it here. So now I have it here and here. And I could put it just in one place. If I say here, I'm back to the view, I'm back to the general tab. So I saw it on the bottom right there, or the middle right, because I said enable the widget, and I can remove it now from the top. If I say here, I'm going to uncheck that, save. So now I still have it here on top, but I'm going to refresh and do another search. And now I no longer have it on top, but I do have it over here. So there's two options to put it. You can put it in both, or only on the top, or only on the side, whatever you prefer. I happen to like it on top. I don't like too many things. I don't want to say cluttering up, although it really doesn't clutter here because it's not covering information. There are places where, from a UI perspective, options cover other options and you don't want to do something like that. But here it's really not bothering because I still have some extra room here. But in any case, you can put it wherever you'd like. I'm going to put it on top and not put it on the side. So now I have it on top. And let's see something else. So now when it's on top, it's appearing, let me get rid of this, ones that we're not using. That I want to also get rid of. Okay, so now let's refresh. I'm going to see it on top again. So I see it on top after new records and before journal search, and it's called Research Assistant. Maybe I want to have it somewhere else here. Maybe I want it right next to library search, and maybe I want to call it something else. So that also can be determined inside the view. See, we're already almost halfway done. I always say we need to make these an hour and a half, and we don't. Some sessions we started doing in an hour and a half. That was a different series. Okay, so now if I come to the links menu, this is what I see on the top. So here's my research assistant. This, by the way, is the EU Americas Krakow New Records. If anyone was in our last or 2 sessions ago when we used the new date index and I made a logical collection, that was this one of new records. And here I've got research assistant. So I can move this. In fact, let's move this to be right next to library search. So I'm going to move it down 1. And right now it's called Research Assistant. Didn't I just move that down? I moved the other one down. Sorry about that. Okay, so now I have Library Search Research Assistant. And I'm going to say Edit. And instead of a label Research Assistant, I'm going to call it Research with AI. Save. Okay, so I've got my original picture here where it says Research Assistant. It's left of new records, right of journal search, and we have SEMA on the bottom. So now, sorry about that, SEMA. Now, when I refresh here, let's do a search. It should move over here to the right, and it should be called something different. So let's do another search. Let's go with this Tower of Babel still. See, there is things in our CDI, toppling the Tower of Babel large language models. It's a very interesting theory that people have come up with. Not a theory, idea. I'm not saying it's true. It's an interesting thing to read about. In any case, let's do a refresh here. Okay, so now it's called Research with AI, and I moved it a little. It's between library search and journal search. It used to be somewhere else. Here's our picture. Okay, so let's put that back, and then we'll go on with the actual functionality. So back to my view. And here we are. So I'm going to put it back up. And I'm going to edit, and I will call it Research Assistant. Okay, so now we're back to where we were. All right, so now let's continue here. Let's in fact take some of our examples in languages because we have a lot of people from different languages here on the call here. So I'm going to go into my Primo Research Assistant. I have a whole section here on working with different languages because I assume some of you will work in different languages. So let's say I wanted to search on this one in a language. Let's take this one. So I could say, how has RDA affected the training and education of academic librarians? Let's use that as our example to start with, and then we will do it in another language. So user comes along, user is in Primo, user is already logged in, so he or she will both see the link and not need to log in again. And I want to use the Research Assistant now. So I use the Research Assistant and I put in my query I want to know now, how has RDA affected the training and education of academic librarians? Now we can do our deeper dive here. And then we're going to check the language, and we're going to go right to Ask Anything. So now we can see, it says at the beginning, let me do that again. It says at the beginning, watch real quickly, that it's generating. So here it is, searching for relevant resources, generating overview for the 5 most relevant sources. So here I am. I've got the 5 most relevant sources. Gives me the overview that we already saw. It gives me the link to additional resources. It gives me links to the specific places that I can take the information from. Where is it bringing this information from? Related questions. He's suggesting for me that if I want to continue my research, maybe I want to also do the impact of RDA implementation on academic library training programs, or maybe I want to do one on changes in library science education due to RDA, or the effect of RDA on professional development. So he's bringing me several other options. On the left here, I have all of my history. And I can copy everything I've got here. I'm going to click copy, and that gives me everything. If I come now to another source here, let's say I want to email this to my friend, or I want to put it inside a Word document. Hi, Seema. Check this out. We spoke about this yesterday during lunch. And now I can give her everything I just got. And here you go, Seema. So now I was able to share my results there. Okay, let's get out of there quick. So I've got my history. I can export by copying. I can run this again with the try again. If I say try again, it fills it in here. And now I can start changing. Maybe I don't care about academic library, or maybe education of librarians in the public library sector. I'm going to leave this spelled wrong. So I have an error in public, and I'm going to spell library wrong. Instead of library, I'm going to say library. Let's see how it deals with that. Again, checking for the relevant resources, blah, 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 blah. And then we're going to do in another language. Okay, so it got through that. It gave me stuff about RDA and libraries. It knew that I was looking for libraries and not here, linked data for libraries, etc. It knew to fix that. By the way, okay. Now, if I had come in here and done this in another language, let's take right from here. It gives me results in that other language if I have, or with a preference for that other language, if I have resources in that other language. So let's say now I'm going to ask it in traditional Chinese. Same question, and it's not from Google Translate. I had one of our colleagues in Taiwan give me that properly. So now my overview is in Chinese. I gave it the question in Chinese. It gave me the overview in Chinese. Just for the fun, I'm going to copy that result. And let's make sure it really did give me what I want. I'm going to go from traditional Chinese to English. And yep, beautiful. Okay, not that I doubted Alma or Primo or any of our other products. So let's take another one that I know I have resources in, because I want to show that it's also, let's take this one in Polish, because we have a lot of resources from the CDI in Polish. So now I'm going to ask the question in Polish, the research assistant. Let's take it from up on top here. Let's say I want to come back. Let's move this over. And now I got a brand new research assistant, clicking on top, and I'm asking now in Polish. Generating on the bottom there, you can see. searching for relevant resources, generating overview for the 5 most relevant sources. Okay, now look, my results are in Polish because I have results in Polish. I have resources in Polish, and my overview is in Polish. So it's defaulting to give me my results, my overview in the language I ask. And if I have resources in that language, it also brings me resources in that language. Let's jump now to the Ask Anything. And I think we are going to move these to an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. So now let's go to the Ask Anything, and then we're going to leave some time for Seema. Seema, are there any significant chats or Q&As we should see? Let's go into the chat and see.
Nothing that I can see, no.
Okay, so we do have one in the chat. I'll read it out for you, Seema. How can I get the Research Assistant widget? Ooh, this is an interesting one. Seema, I'll let you take this one while I go into the Ask Anything. How can I get the Research Assistant widget code to embed in my LibGuide? Ooh, very nice. By the way, person who asked that, I really wish we had more time. Just like all of the other links on top, you can see what they're doing. I'm going to say copy link. Now, let's say I'm somewhere else entirely. I'm in Google. By the way, you could put it in your LibGuide, but note, if somebody clicked it from your LibGuide and they weren't logged in, you would need to log in and go do something. They would need to log in. I'm already logged in. So if I'm doing whatever, let's go back to our Tower of Babel. And I have a link here. That link can simply point to there, which is where I did my copy link, because you can see here it's going to the Research Assistant. Same with the collection discovery, all of those things, and it brings me right to the Research Assistant. So you could just take that link and do whatever you'd like. You could make an icon. You could take that icon even. It's basically a link like everywhere else into Primo. Seema, if you want to add to anything, feel free.
Right. Nothing special to do with it. You can just link out to Primo.
Yeah. Okay. So now Ask Anything. So let's go to the Ask Anything. So the Ask Anything appears as a link next to the search. So let's say library search, and let me start closing what I don't need here just so I'm no longer confused. Okay, so here's the Ask Anything. When I click this Ask Anything, we get on the right side a dialog box that we could fill in here. And the person asked a question before. Seema, as far as I know, but correct me if I'm wrong, this is going to search now. If I choose library catalog and CDI, this is going to search CDI with a few exceptions. I believe there's some Elsevier exceptions, but maybe save that for your 5 minutes at the end. But it's not doing the expand my results, correct, Seema?
It searches according to your library, to your Primo configuration.
Okay.
It's not related to the exclusion of Elsevier, etc., which is relevant to the CDI searches in the Research Assistant. Here you are searching the entire library, whatever you have. If you define here the search based on library catalog and CDI, you would search in the library and CDI based on your configuration of Primo.
So it's as if I had done a regular search, it would bring me the same resources I would get if I had done a regular search. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, so let's ask anything here, and I see we're tough on time, so let's start already with our language examples, because here I've also got many language examples. So, and I'll start in English, but then we'll already have in our examples. So I've got here native language. Okay. So let's take our first question. I'm going to start in English, but just so we're already at this place. Okay, I need resources about library and information science. Actually, let's take from here. So I need resources about library and information science in Taiwan with a special emphasis on Taipei. The material should be online and published within the last 10 years. So somebody comes along here, sorry about that. Somebody comes along here and puts in a search like that. I'm saying library catalog and CDI. It's telling me what I recently searched for, so I could click one of these and search for that again. I can get rid of them from my history by clicking the trash can. and search. Okay, it's bringing me the resources. It's already filtering by creation date and available online because I said I want the last 10 years and I said it should be available online. Brings me the results. So it's making a search behind the scenes based on my natural language. He says, I need resources, but he knows not to search for the word need or I need. He knows that I'm searching for things about library and information science. And I can see what exactly it's doing when I click that generate query. Let me do that again. This generated query here to the right, when I click that, I can see what he's doing. So I see here, and then I can start and say, wait a minute, I don't actually want that, and I need bibliometrics too. Bibliometrics is also important. Or maybe I want to change this, and I say, well, it should really have a phrase, library science. So let's even say here, I'm going to edit this. I'm going to click edit now. Edit is going to bring me what I did, and I can change it. So now it's bringing me what I already had, and I'm going to change it. So I need resources about library and information science in Taiwan with a special emphasis on Taipei. I prefer articles that reference the area of bibliometrics. So I'm adding a little bit more now. I prefer articles that reference the topic of, let's say. Material should be online and published within the last 10 years and peer reviewed. Peer reviewed, i.e. Okay. Now let's see. So I used the edit to just change what I already had, and I spelled peer reviewed per reviewed instead of peer reviewed. You see here? Okay, let's see what it did now. Generate query. So you see, I said I prefer ones that include the topic of bibliometrics, and he knew, or she knew, that when I say I prefer the topic of that, I'm not searching for the word I in prefer and topic. It knew that that's a natural language thing. To say I prefer the topic of is natural language, and it took that natural language, said, okay, this person wants on bibliometrics, added bibliometrics inside here. And I could clear it and start over. I could make other things here. I'm going to do this just for the fun. I want to check something. It's not even part of what I was planning. But I'm going to take this edit because I see, oh, very nice. It knew also, I don't need to do it. It did it itself. I said and peer reviewed, and it already faceted here by the peer reviewed. Very nice. It's even better than I expected, which is often the case. And I expect it to be really good. Okay, now let's say I do this in another language. Let's start with this, because I don't think there's any French. There might be French speakers, but this afternoon we'll have people from France as well. So I'll do Hebrew and I'll do Chinese, because I know we have Hebrew speakers and Chinese speakers here. Although not as many Chinese speakers as usual. It's the Lunar New Year. And many of our colleagues are on vacation until February 23rd. Happy Lunar New Year to those of you. It's the year of the horse. So happy year of the horse to those of you celebrating the new Lunar New Year. And let's see what's going to happen now. I'm going to do, let's say I do another library search, just anything. Let's say Tower of Babel. Now I decide to do Ask Anything. So I come here to the Ask Anything. And now I'm going to ask in Chinese, search. What am I asking in Chinese? I need resources about library and information science in Taiwan, blah, 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 blah. So it's giving me, you can see these are about library and information science. Even though I asked in another language, it's giving me, and I don't have resources in that language, it's giving me about library and information science. When I do generated query, I see it. I didn't say anything about Taiwan libraries or information science. I wrote only, you can see here, I wrote only in Chinese. But when my query is generated, he knows already to give it to me in Chinese and in English. Let's see another one. Let's do another simple search. Ask anything, excuse me. And now I'm going to say in Hebrew, I need material on library and information science. There's one word for that. That was published in the last 10 years. And available online. So, those of you on the call who might understand this language, I need material about library and information science. Sorry about that. And information science that was published in the last 10 years. I'm writing in Hebrew search. So it's giving me in English. I don't have material in this case in Hebrew. Generated query, again, it knew to take those terms that I put in Hebrew and put them also in English. Let's do one now for something I do have material on. So I know I have material in Polish because it's from the CDI, and in the CDI we have, among many other languages, in Polish. So I'm just going to translate this to Polish just so I get also material on that. So I'm searching for ones in Taiwan in Polish. Okay, copy. And now we're going to say again, let me just come back to a regular search and ask anything. Search. And here, only if it answers my query will I have in that language. Oh, or did I say I want only in language English? No, I didn't. Okay. So now let's go to my query. So it's looking for the Polish words and automatically translating them to English as well. If I had those words in a, let's actually come here, 5-minute alert. I'm going to stop in 5 minutes. So language. So I do have Polish. Okay, great. So it knows also to bring those because it's searching by the keywords. Okay, I'm going to stop. Seema, take it away. All you. And I think you're muted, Seema. I'm not hearing you. Either you're talking very softly.
Yes,
Okay, now we hear
definitely.
you. Great.
Okay, hi, thanks, Yoel. It was very interesting. I'm going to share my screen now.
Well, thank you.
Please
All I did
let
was
me
show
know.
it. You developed it with your developers.
We
I
have a
was
whole
just up
team
on
that
top
worked
there
on
doing
it.
nothing.
We have a great team that worked on it.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Okay. So after Yoel showed you the general and actually in-depth overview of the both natural language search and research assistant, let's take a brief view into what is expected in 2026 in terms of the research assistant and natural languages search, which are the two main LLM-based tools in Primo currently. The first enhancement is a UX enhancement for the drawer of filtering. It's below the research assistant, where the user can segment their search based on specific attributes such as peer-reviewed, available online, date ranges, etc. It comes along with our approach toward those developments where we are not deciding only based on our strategy and our vision. This is actually a concrete feedback shared in the listserv of Primo, where you, our community, shared the need in order to make this filtering area more prominent, enabled, opened by default, and this is why we embedded these UX changes.
So that means, Seema, just to clarify, they would not
Yes.
need to do like I did. Please include ones published in the last X years that are peer reviewed.
Both options are available. Currently, you have an icon which is not very visible and not that prominent, where the user can click on and view the filtering options. This is our UX approach currently. In addition, you can filter based on the string itself, based on the query that the user inserts there. The next enhancement, also in the Research Assistant, over here, is also came from the community as well. This is a curve submission, which was raised in 2025. In 2025, we had a lot of care submissions about the Research Assistant. This is a great indication for us that the community finds interest in the Research Assistant and would like to enhance it and to make it more fit better to their needs and their users' needs. And this is one of the top voted enhancements, local record to be included in the Research Assistant. As Yoel explained, currently the Research Assistant searches in the CDI, in our trusted content, Clarivate's trusted content, and we would like to allow the Research Assistant to search also in your Alma local records. It might be physical, electronic, and digital materials, and it will be based on the abstracts and table of content, and perhaps other fields that we will decide on in the design phase of it. And the last big enhancement that I'm going to share is the embedding of the Research Assistant and the natural language search. It's part of the main Primo search. If we'll see it, as Yoel showed, we have currently ad hoc links. We have the Research Assistant link on the top and the widget, as we saw earlier, and we have the Ask Anything in the NDE UI next to the main search bar. However, this is not embedded yet in the main Primo search, and we would like to take it closer to the heart of the product and to make it more useful for the end user and to encourage the end user to use these great capabilities. So over here on the screen, we can see the differentiation between the Research Assistant and the natural language search, which I think was quite clear from Yoel's part. And what we're aiming to do is having the main search bar as a decision point to decide if a natural language search needs to be triggered and if the Research Assistant need to be shown, to be triggered and shown to the end user. As you can see here on the screen, which is just the conceptual mock-up, we are already including the overview of sources, which is the answer of the Research Assistant, at the top of the results in the NDE UI. We're not yet sure how exactly it is going to be released, if there will be a button before that in order to allow the user to trigger it, because there is a huge cost consideration over here. Currently, the Research Assistant and the natural language search are inclusive in the product. You are not charged for it, and therefore we need to consider how we can still have these costs included in the product, or perhaps it can be a premium feature. This is also a consideration, but the current capabilities are going to stay as they are, and we would like to suggest also a freemium, how we are calling it, addition to this great idea and strategy of embedding the Research Assistant and natural language search as part of the main search bar. So this is, we plan to have kind of a proof of concept, a basic solution already released towards 2026, perhaps at the beginning of 2027, in order to allow your users to use the Research Assistant and natural language search as part of the main Primo search and not as a standalone features, which are sometimes quite confusing from UX perspective. So over here, we can see that when we click the read more, sorry, the shape over there moved a bit. We can see the whole result, the whole overview of sources, the whole answer of the research assistant, and the sources that were used in order to generate this answer. This is mainly our strategy. It's a big solution. It's not just a small UX change as we saw in other enhancement that we just reviewed. Additional enhancements are the ongoing fine-tuning of the natural language search. We released it a few months ago. Since then, we see great usage and we would like to fine-tune it. For example, we had a couple of changes recently for the languages selection. If the user explicitly mentioned that they would like specific language, then we would like to fine-tune the selection of the language, the Boolean query, etc. So we are still working on fine-tuning the natural language search based on your great feedback. A longer-term vision is also to embed and translate abstract, but this is just in our thoughts right now. It's more towards 2027. A translate abstract feature will translate both the abstract and the title when the source is in a different language than the user is used to, and they would like to translate it and to see it in their own language. So we see here just a glance into how we vision it, how we see the embedding of the LLM-based tools into Primo. We're not making LLM-based tools just for the buzz and for using AI in our products. It's because we see real needs and requirements that can be covered based on LLM-based tools.
Yeah, that's an important point. It's not AI for the sake of AI, LLM for the sake of LLM. It's really doing something useful, something needed. Good point. Okay, I see we're over time. So thanks everyone. Thanks for staying longer. I see 47 people stayed overtime. Seema, thanks again.
Thank you,
And the
Yoel.
recording will be posted soon, and we hope to see everybody in 2 or 3 weeks for the BibFrame editor. Have a nice day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.